The Mommy Collective Mommy Dinner Plug series in Chicago is back on March 11th. It's a curated, intimate night, a real dinner with moms and women who are building, working, creating, and trying to do it all without losing themselves in the process. You'll walk in, get settled, and actually have an easy way to meet people. No awkward networking. No shouting over a crowded bar. No pretending you're fine when you're running on fumes. Just good conversation, good food, and the kind of connections that don't feel transactional. Seats are limited on purpose because the room matters. Grab your seat and head to themommycollective.com/events.
Welcome to the Mommy Collective. I'm Paulina Rowe, radio host, TV contributor, writer, and mom of one. This is where ambitious moms come to keep their identity intact while navigating motherhood. Here we talk about the real stuff: career, money, relationships, identity, and everything that gets messy in between. You won't find sugarcoating or cliches. What you will find are unfiltered conversations, real resources, and proof that you don't have to lose yourself to be a good mom. The Mommy Collective is here to remind you can be ambitious, you can take up space, and you can thrive in motherhood and in everything else that makes you, you. Before we get into the episode, make sure you're following the Mommy Collective on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and share this podcast with a mommy in your life who needs a little inspiration or just a reminder that she's killing it. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and leave us a review so we can keep showing up and reach every ambitious mom out there doing big things. Let's get into it. Mommy Collective, we are here, Paulina Rowe, another episode, and today I have a very special guest joining me. I have Kellie Koziel joining me, mom and wife to 4 girls. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to chat with you. We've been trying to get this in the books for a minute, and I'm so grateful that you found the time for me. I think your episode today is going to be one hell of an episode. I do think a lot of moms are going to relate to you, and I think I'm truly, first of all, very grateful and honored that you're here to chat with me, our community as well. Motherhood is no similar path for anybody. It's a lot of ups and downs, and I definitely want to talk to you because I feel like, in my perspective, from what I've seen getting to know you, is I think you're one of the strongest moms that I know. And I mean that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much.
Sometimes
seriously.
I think about you sometimes. It sounds so creepy. But I go to bed and I'm just like, I hope Kellie's getting rest tonight. I really do. I swear to, on God, I swear I've thought that before. I really hope she's having a good night tonight. I know. I just think of you often, and I'm grateful that you're here to talk to us, tell your story, and, give moms a lot of hope, inspiration, and especially let them know they're not alone. Because I think that a lot of times that can be the case,
Yes, absolutely. It's very, you feel that way sometimes, but there's a community out there.
Absolutely. So I want to dive into you, if you don't mind, giving us a little background about yourself, your family, career-wise, even before kids. I would love to know all about Kellie.
Okay. Obviously, I'm Kellie, and I'm married to my husband, Scott. We were high school sweethearts, and we've been married for 8 years now, and we have 4 daughters. My oldest daughter is Brindley, and she's 7. And then my middle daughter is Vivian, and she's 5. And then we have our twin daughters, McKenna and Sienna, and they're 2.5. We have kids right away, kind of. Brindley was, she was born the same month we celebrated our first year anniversary of marriage. Nice. And we always wanted that. I always wanted, my whole thing, I want to be a mom, so bad. I was like, I just want to be a mom. And me and Scott have been together for literally forever. We actually got married on our 9-year anniversary of dating. Oh. So, yeah. So we had the girls, and I previously, prior to having kids, I was a hairstylist. My husband works construction. Once the girls were born, I became a stay-at-home mom. I watched kids out of my house. Sometimes in between, when Brindley was born and Vivian was born and the twins were born, I in the neighborhood, I'll watch kids, whatever. But I'm basically at home. So right now, even with McKenna and everything, I have a daycare on Tuesdays and Thursdays at home. But then primarily stay-at-home mom. And I don't know. We just wanted to get married, build a family, and the typical as what you planned for life. And
absolutely. So Kellie, you share a lot of your family and your story on social, and I love that. I truly do, because I feel again, you don't know you never know who you're speaking to, right? Or
totally.
Who is resonating,
who's going to see it, or
right, who this reaches. And I think, and I've actually met you, well, it's our first time really meeting, but I've known you for a minute, and especially because of a friend that we have that's our mutual friend, Sam, and she
talked about you to me, and I was like, I have to get her on the podcast. I love her too.
Yeah, no, she's the best.
I got to go see her. I'm like, these split ends are really bad. But that's another story. She mentioned you a lot, and we talked about you, and I would love for you to share your story about your motherhood journey, because it's something that you even said offline that you never think it happens to you until, you know, it does, or you're in it. And your experience on a certain day even completely switched your motherhood experience and what you are going through with your family. I would love for you to open up to us and really share as much as you're comfortable with, because again, I feel like it could really help a lot of families, moms listening.
Okay. Yeah. No, absolutely. So, I mean, we'll get into it. Basically, like I said, my oldest daughter's 7 now, so I had her in 2018. Then my middle daughter was born in 2020. I always wanted 3 kids. My husband he always said 3 too, but then after we had 2, there were 2 under 2. He kind of was like, we could be like, you know, done. We could be done, blah, blah, whatever. But then I was like, no, I don't feel complete. So we went for number 3, and I got pregnant right away. And it was funny though, because I was like, even with my pregnancies, all of them were like completely normal and all that. I never even had like morning sickness or anything. But when I got pregnant with the twins, I was so sick. Like, so sick. Like, I felt like I was dying. It was on my deathbed. I was like, oh my God, like, how did I get away the last 2 pregnancies feeling 100% healthy and like fantastic? I was so sick. And my like OB is like our family OB. Like my sister used him and everyone. So like we have like a really close relationship. And I'll never forget the day when I went, go for that first ultrasound, and they check to make sure everything's okay. I'll never forget. It was like a really snowy and rainy day. And my husband works construction, so he's usually off the week of Christmas and New Year's. And it was his first day back to work after the 2-week break. It was January 12th, I'll never forget. And my mom came in, whose house we're at today, and to watch Brinley and Vivian. And my dad drove her in or whatever, because they live up north and we live in the southern suburbs. And my mom was like, just drive Kellie to the appointment, because my OB is like 40 minutes away and the weather was like really crappy. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, can you just take me? He's like, I'll wait in the car or whatever. So I go in, and like, again, typical appointment. My doctor comes in. He's like, I was just in actually before for like my yearly or whatever. And he was asking about kids. And I was like, I don't know. Like, Scott wants to be done, but like, I don't feel complete. So when he walked in the room, he's like, why are you back? I was like, I'm back. I'm pregnant. And we were like laughing about it. And he's like, how are you feeling? Blah, blah, whatever. And I'm like, I'm so sick. And he made a joke, and he's like, you better hope it's not double or multiples. And I was like, oh, please, like, give me a break. Because my sister has twins. And I was like, no, there's no, like, it was never even a thought in my head. Like, I don't know. I didn't even think about it. Right. Well, he's like, I'll catch back up with you in like 20 minutes. Cause you get the blood work and all this stuff, whatever. Well, sure enough, I go for the ultrasound, and like, they did the whole ultrasound. It was like 30 minutes. And like at the last, I swear to God, like 5 minutes, we were finishing up, and I'll never forget. I was like looking at the curtain next to me, because I knew we were done. And the ultrasound tech goes, 1 second. And so it didn't even process me. I'm like, what? And she's like, she looks at me and she's like, do you have multiples in your family? And I was like, why? It didn't even like click. Thinking back, I should have known where she was going. And I was like, why? And I guess like when she was like finishing up, we found another sack. And then she's like, well, you're having twins. And I was like, what? Whoa. I was like shaking. Like, I have videos. I took my phone out and I started like recording things. And the camera is just like this the whole time, because I was freaking out to it. And I was like, is this normal? Or am I taking this well? And she's like, no, you're actually taking it really well. I'm like, am I? Because thinking back, she said I was taking it great. I'm like, do I like call my husband? Like, what do I do? So I did call him, like laying on the table, and I call him. And again, he does construction, and he was like, it was raining and snowing that day. And he's like, hello. And he's like, what? I'm like, I have to tell you something. And he's like 6 feet in a hole in the middle of like the expressway. I'm like, there's 2. And he's like, I can't hear. I'm like, there's 2. He's like, I'll call you back. And like, so he calls me back after he gets out of the hole and everything. And I'm like, yeah, so we're in a 4 under 4. And he's like, what? Oh, I'm like, there's twins. So then my OB came in and he like laughed, and I'm like, you jinxed me. And because they say like when you have multiples, I guess that like onset's a lot more like sickness feelings, because it's double the, what is the H, the hormones, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Tell you.
So it made sense why I was so sick, because I just thought I had the flu for like a month. But anyways, so that's how we found out. It was like, thinking back, it was like so funny, but it was like such a hot mess. I remember like my dad drove, I walked out to the car. And he's like looking at me, and he's like, what's wrong? Because I was like crying. He's like, what's wrong? And I just like tossed the ultrasound over, and he like looked, and he's like, oh. I'm like, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, it's 4 under 4. He's like, it's going to be fine. And when we went home, my mom was in the kitchen and she's like, how did it go? Let me see the baby. And my dad's like, just wait. And my mom's like, no. I'm like, mm-hmm. It was just so funny. So that's how we found out there was 2.
Yeah.
And then moving forward from that, like, I had a completely normal pregnancy. Like, everything was totally fine. Once you hit 20, when you have multiples, even if you have a fine pregnancy, they have you see maternal fetal medicine once you hit 20 weeks just to watch you more closely.
Mm-hmm.
So my OB was like 40 minutes away, like I said, but I was very lucky. We live like right next. Our neighborhood is like 5 minutes from like our local suburban hospital, however you want to say that. So my MFM doctor, who you have to see all the time to like check on the babies, was right in there. So very convenient. Like I said, everything was good. Everything was fine. Once I hit 20 weeks, I started being seen more frequently just to check on them. And that's since everything was so normal, it's kind of like I basically went to my 7-month appointment. And I think at that time I was either being seen weekly or bi-weekly. I don't remember, to watch them. And so it was June 1st, 2023. I woke up actually, this is the crazy part. So I had an appointment for 10 o'clock in the morning and I had a babysitter coming, like our regular babysitters, whatever. And I got a call the night before from the doctor's office and they were like, could you come in at 8? And I was like, totally. I'm like, but I know like our sitters are in college. So I was like, I know they're in class at that point. So I would have to bring the girls. And mind you, at that point, Brindley and Vivian turned 3 10 days before. Her birthday's May 19th. So like she was a baby, in my opinion. Like she was little. And Brindley was 4, I think, right? Back then, yeah, 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many years ago? And it was weird. And I was like, I said, I promise they're very well behaved, but they don't like having siblings at the appointments. It's a very, very tiny office up there. So they were like, let me call you back. I think they were trying to move around, seeing if someone else could come. I'm not quite sure what it was. And I was like, that's fine. I'm like, I could be there though, but I have to bring the girls, but I promise they're so good, like whatever. So they ended up calling me back and we went to the 8 o'clock appointment. So I wake up that morning, again, everything was fine. And I was like packing up the car. Like I'll never forget June 1st. It was like the hottest, most humid day. So I was like packing up the double stroller. I got the girls in the car. Everything's fine. And I get in the driver's seat. And all of a sudden I started like, just like not feeling good. I got like a cramp in my left side, which this sounds like silly, but I always say this. Do you ever like, as like a kid or like when you were in school, like drink a bunch of water and then you run? Do you ever get like that cramp?
Yeah.
Like a running cramp?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I got that. And I was like, is it because it's so humid? And mind you, even at that point, being 27 weeks, I was like big, like like just with tubing in there. So I'm like in the car, sitting in the driveway, and I'm like, well, I just like put the stroller in. I got the girls buckled. Like it's hot. Like it's just weird, but it's fine. But I ended up going back in the house and I was like looking for a water bottle to like bring with me. I couldn't find one. So I literally just like filled up a cup of water and I ran back out to the car. Didn't want to be late. I like chugged the water and I drive 5 minutes to the hospital. But en route there, I started getting like this like burning sensation on my arm. And I was like I was like flicking my wrist kind of, or like my arm, I guess, like what I'm showing you right now. And I was kind of like freaking out. I'm like, this is weird. But I kept convincing myself like it's just hot and we were rushing this morning, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we pull into the hospital. I pull out the stroller. I get them situated. I go in and literally where my MFM doctor's office is, it's actually right next to my daughter's pediatrician. Like I do the same block all the time. I've been there a million times. So I'm like at the elevator. We clicked that button and like, this is actually kind of funny. There was like a vending machine, but I was like getting dizzy. So like I let the elevator open and close and like I got like a Coke from the vending machine. In my head, I'm like, is like my blood sugar low? And it was funny because when we got up there, I told the nurses this and they're like, do you have a blood sugar problem? I'm like, no. Like in my head, I was like, why did I feel that way? You know? So I was just thinking like maybe I was sweating and I don't know. So we go up there, whatever. I sit down, I check in. I'm still not feeling great. And I'm like kind of looking at the receptionist and there's a bunch of people in there and it's tiny. And I'm not like one to like complain often, honest to God, but like I really did not feel good. Like there was like cramping happening in my side. My arm was burning. My ears started ringing. I was like dizzy. So I go to the receptionist. I'm like, I don't feel good. So she brought me immediately back. And that's when everything just changed. Basically, they put you on the table. They do an ultrasound. No one was panicking or anything yet, but they started the ultrasound. And I swear, like, I feel like my time frames are probably off because, just chaos. And it's been like 2.5 years now. but it was definitely less than 5 minutes. I remember the ultrasound tech that was like checking everything she was training someone. I feel so bad for whoever that girl was because she like witnessed. It was so quick. She just like looked at me and she's like, "Where's your husband?" And I mean, it's Thursday. It was a Thursday. It's Thursday morning at this 8:15. Scott's at work. So I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Hold on one second." And she goes and gets the doctor and they come in with a wheelchair. And I'm like, "What's going on?" And then they're like, "We need to contact your OB," which he actually just did an overnight shift. He was delivering babies all night at the hospital because I deliver at the hospital. And I later found out like he literally had just walked in the door from like his night shift and he was pouring his cup of coffee when he got paged. And I'm very thankful because I've heard from like friends, sometimes you'll just get like a random doctor ever. He literally like jumped back in his car and drove right back to the hospital when he knew what was going on.
Wow.
Basically what they said was I was having a placenta abruption and hemorrhaging. And I had a volleyball size hematoma behind baby A, which that part of my body that I said was cramping really bad, that's where she was. And it busted. So I was like internally bleeding. And then basically when you like look it up, it's like the placenta is falling off. And I'm not like a doctor. So like this is how I've been explained to it. And I know I'm kind of like going to butcher it. No. But the placenta basically is like falling off of the wall. But then there was a hematoma too that like abrupted. And I was like internally bleeding. And that's why I was having all of that. Everything that was happening. So after that, shit just hit the fan. I'm calling my husband. He was an hour north. He was up here where I'm right now visiting my mom today. He was an hour and a half or an hour north. Everyone's at work. I mean, my parents are retired, but they also are an hour and a half away. My sister is a teacher in the suburb next to us. And I was just calling everyone. And everyone's like, no, like, because they didn't want to scare me. I was scared already. But they were like, first they're saying you're delivering right now. Then they're like, when I started panicking, they're like, well, we're going to monitor you when doctor gets here and when your doctor gets here, blah, blah. So I'm like calling everyone. And my husband's even like, there's just it's 27 weeks. You know what I mean? Like they're going to do something else. We're not delivering. Well, finally, I'll never forget, like I'm in the elevator and like the nurse like ripped the phone out of my hand and was like, your wife's delivering right now. And that's when I knew like they were trying to like protect me from panicking. But like everyone was like, well, what are we doing? Like, are we right? It just blew up. So basically my appointment was at 8:15 a.m. and the twins were born at 9:22 a.m. If that just makes like that's.
Whoa. My
husband missed the entire C-section. He was stuck on traffic on 294. It was horrible because I was like, I had to sign things and like they wanted to put me to sleep because I had a C-section, obviously, it was emergency or crash C-section. My other daughters are obviously like 3 and 4 at the time. They were just screaming bloody murder. Like, mommy,
so
they're cutting the whole time. Yeah, they were like cutting my clothes off and they're like screaming bloody murder. They had every single person at the hospital. They had HR down there. There was like 60 people in everywhere. And I'm like, what am I doing? Thank God, like I said, my sister's a teacher and it was actually the last day of school. She left and she got there, but they didn't allow her to be in the OR with me. Plus my other girls. So I'm like trying to decide, like, I'm like, no, I don't need you. Go with Brinley and Vivian. Like, what the hell is happening? My brother-in-law's a nurse at Christ. He came. I don't even know what happened. They pumped so many. I'll never forget. I was like shaking so bad. And my sister ran in the room. Finally, she got there. And I remember I was like, why am I shaking? I'm like trying to sign stuff. My signature couldn't even sign. So they ended up having me just like thumbprint things. And I'm like, why am I shaking? My sister's like, it's the medication. And I remember I put like my arms up. I'm like, I don't even have an IV yet. But it was like the nurse, like, it's adrenaline. So it just blew up so quickly. So I delivered the babies and my husband was not there. He did end up walking in, like, I'll never forget, they like got him out. And they ended up taking my like fallopian tubes. And then I still have my uterus, but they took my fallopian tubes. And I just remember like him walking in and it was so quiet. He's like, you know, when you have a baby, the baby's supposed to cry. They were so tiny. They were like 1 pound, 15 ounces. I think Sienna was 1 pound, 15 ounces and McKenna was like 1 pound, 4 ounces. And I'm probably off on the ounces, but neither of them were like 2 actual pounds. And it was just so quiet. And then Scott like came running in the OR. They let him in, whatever. And there's so many people. And all of a sudden we started hearing like, it's almost like meows because they're so tiny. Like their cries sounded like, it reminded me of like a cat meowing or a kitten. So I was like, okay, they're breathing. And the nurses were great. They were like, you know, modern medicine, it's going to be okay. Like 27 weeks is better than 24 weeks. You know, like they're trying to like make me calm down because I was clearly freaking out.
Absolutely.
And then honestly, after that, it was like such a blur. They put me up in recovery, and me and Scott are sitting there looking at each other, and we're like, what just happened? I'm like trying to fill him in on the morning. And then the NICU doctor, she runs the NICU, whatever. She came up, and as soon as she walked in, she did not look happy. And she was like, something's wrong with baby B. Because we didn't have, okay, mind you, also 27 weeks, we had like a list of names, but I didn't like pick out official names. And we have other girls too. So like, there's only, I'm like, we have all girls. So I'm like, what names? So they're doing baby A, baby B. She basically comes in and she's like, baby B is just like not doing well right now. And they basically told me I had to go down and say goodbye to her. So which baby B is actually McKenna, like who's with us now. So
really,
like they pulled the gurney out and like they're bringing me down. And me and Scott are like, what? And like, I remember my parents were finally there and they were in like this, it wasn't even like a waiting room. They somehow got to a part of the hospital where like they're getting to the waiting room, but they passed us kind of. My parents were like, what is going on? And like, baby V's not going to make it. And I just remember my dad was like, what? Like, it just was such chaos. And like, they didn't even stop for me to talk. It was like, they're coming this way, I'm going that way in the stretcher. Like, it just hot mess. So we go down there and when I got into the NICU, and it's a small NICU at that hospital, it was such chaos. Like, I remember seeing like other families visiting their kids and everyone's just like looking like, what is going on right now? So I go down there and they told me to say goodbye and all this stuff. And I don't even remember. I feel like I blacked out kind of. I don't know what happened. Next thing I remember, I was in a room finally, and they came up and they said that baby B needs to be transported to the local children's hospital. We're like, okay. So we sign all of that, and that was probably at like 11 a.m. She didn't end up getting transported over until like 6 p.m. So my husband left and went with baby B, which is now McKenna, and I stayed with baby A, Sienna. Obviously, I was inpatient. So he went downtown with his brother. I stayed here. My parents took the girls home. I just remember I was just like in the hospital, like, what just happened? Like, I feel like my whole family is like spread everywhere, and like they're supposed to be on my stomach still. Like, this is insane. Yeah. Long story short, I got discharged like 2 days later, and I went to visit McKenna so we named them McKenna and Sienna. And I went to visit McKenna for the first time, and like everything was okay, honestly. Like they actually, I forgot to say, the reason for the transfer, they said it was a heart problem.
Okay.
But when the children's hospital got there, they were reviewing all of the tests, and they actually said there wasn't a heart problem. But at that point, we already suffered brain bleeds, which is something that is very common with premature babies. So that's why they ended up taking her, because she already had a brain bleed. So they're like, let's get her to a more like sufficient place. So yeah, so we get there, and then I go 3 days later and visit with her. Everything's okay. It was kind of like a waiting game. They talk about something when you have twins prematurely, there's something called like a honeymoon stage, where the babies don't even realize that they're out of the mom yet. So like they could be doing like super well because they haven't like processed that they're no longer in you. And that's exactly what happened, because they were almost doing like too good. And then like on day 3, McKenna specifically was not. And that's when like all of our problems started. So McKenna suffered when they caught it, it was a level 2 brain bleed. And then the day of my discharge, I'll never forget, I was, you sign all the paperwork when you're leaving to go home or whatever. A nurse had come in to sign everything, and the phone rang in the hospital room, and I answered it, and it was the NICU downstairs for Sienna, baby A. And they were telling me that now she has a bilateral level 2 brain bleed. And I remember like the nurse walked in and she was like reading I started crying, and she just like walked back out, because like I was like, this is not happening. They're like, you need to come down, and we know you're getting discharged, but like before you leave, come down. So I'm like, okay. So we do all of that, and like I said, everything was kind of a blur, but that's kind of how this like all started. At the end of the day, because there's just like so much information, McKenna ended up suffering with bilateral level 4 brain bleeds, and that's the worst you can have. Sienna had level 2 brain bleeds, and then they did go to level 4. Sienna ended up passing away on day 6 of life. She was doing like great. They actually called over to the children's hospital to come get her as well. And it was the same exact transport team that came. And I'll never forget, I was pumping in like the little family room down there by the NICU. And they came in, it was all the same people. And like, like that look people give you, kind of like, they just like looked like sorrow kind of. And I was like, what? And they're like, we need to talk. And I was like, okay, what's up? And they were like, we'll take her. But they said, I'll never forget, they said, and it sounds like very blunt, but I actually respected it because I just needed to know what is actually going on. Basically, the main doctor on the transport team said, we don't know if she's going to make it there. She's probably going to like die in the sky. I'll never forget that, like die in the sky. And he's like, and we will perform CPR. We'll do all the things like to get her there, but she's so fragile. She's so little. So we talked obviously for more than just that. It was like 40 minutes. And then me and Scott were talking, and at that point, we ended up making the decision to just put her on comfort care at the hospital, the suburban hospital where I delivered. And, so at that, basically they give us time with her, they give you time. And then when you are ready, they basically extubate. But she also, I think I had mentioned to you before, I forgot to say, she developed neck where her intestines perforated. That was the big reason why they were transferring her. I forgot to mention that on here. That was what called that for that other hospital to come get her. And that's why they said they didn't know if she was going to make it because of the neck and the intestines. So we made the decision. We did what we had to do. But that specific day was the day that we found out that McKenna needed her first brain surgery. So like, it was just like the worst situation because we're like, oh, Sienna's passing away. We need to go to a meeting an hour and a half away into the city to discuss brain surgery for like such a fragile child, which they didn't even know if they can perform it yet because she was so petite still. So like me and Scott always say, like, do we feel like I have guilt of like not spending enough time with Sienna, but then I like had to go sign paperwork for brain surgery and then McKenna wasn't doing well. Like you're just pulled and tugged in so many different directions. And like, I don't think there's a right way to do it.
No,
it was just so much. That's the only word I can think, so much. So we did the comfort care. She ended up passing away. We literally, like, I'll never forget. So like when you leave a hospital without a baby, they give you like a basket. And we were like kind of close with the security guard at the hospital at that point. So we didn't talk, but like he saw us so frequently just that 1 week. And I'll never forget, like we were coming up the elevator and it was so busy in the lobby. And I'm like, Scott's wheeling me on the wheelchair. And like, I was holding the basket and like the security guard like looked at me and you can tell like, he probably was wondering like what was up because we were there so much and my family was there so much. But like the look you get when you're like walking out with like that basket, like everyone in the hospital knows what that basket is. And it sucked. Like it's, I'm right. I'm like strong, but Scott wheeled me through the lobby and then he went to go get the car and I was sitting in like the double door area because it was like so hot and I like busted out crying and I was like, how is this happening? Like, I don't like, it's, how does this happen? You just think like it's never going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, my daughter just passed away. My other one needs brain surgery. I have literal babies at home. I'm sorry, in my opinion, they're 3 and 4. They're babies. It was just like a hot mess. So that's how this all began. And since that day, McKenna has had 5 brain surgeries. She is diagnosed now with spastic quadriplegic dystonic cerebral palsy, which means that like her chest area and like her neck is like low tone, which means she doesn't have like muscle, like it's just very low. Like she's droopy and all this, but then her 4 extremities, like her legs and her arms are high tone. So like they are stiff as a board. And then she also has the diagnosis of she's blind and she's deaf. We know that she hears something though, because like her sisters are crazy and like, that's like she laughs when they're like running around the house. So we don't know. We think she may hear tones.
Okay.
We don't know if she hears like all of our words, but we know she hears something, like I said, but we think it's like tones. Like she loves when the girls are like pounding their feet or like running around. And then she has the diagnosis of hydrocephalus. So now she has a VP shunt. We went through multiple shunts and reservoirs in hopes that it would like clear up the brain bleed. It doesn't clear up the brain bleed, but like release the pressure. But unfortunately, her body just never adapted to any of it. So we had to make the decision to do the VP shunt, which it's basically like a little machine. I don't know how to explain. Like in her head, you can like see a bump on her head, and there's a tube that goes from the little thing in her head behind her ear all the way into her belly, and it. Like her body doesn't process cerebral fluid like our body does. They say like a healthy adult at least is supposed to process 1 soda can a day of cerebral fluid. With McKenna's brain damage and swallowing and everything, her body just can't do it. So that tube releases it into like her belly basically because her brain can't do it herself. So like we have to watch that all the time. So she has that diagnosis as well. And then with all the damage that she's had, she also has brainstem damage. So like in her notes, it says like severe narrowing. Her brainstem is also damaged, which your brainstem controls your entire body. So she has a very severe feeding intolerance. She's on 24/7 feeds all day long just to get like the volume. Cause we have a nutritionist that comes to the house and like she's a G-tube. Sorry, I meant to say that. But since she vomits so frequently, it's so difficult to get the feeds in and we have to just do them so slow. And then she vomits. And so it just takes forever. So she eats all day and all night, unfortunately. And it's just very uncomfortable for her because like the vomiting and it's a lot. We ended up McKenna spent 7 months in the children's hospital. We got discharged and we kind of did have like a off situation with discharge. She didn't have like we knew she had cerebral palsy when she was discharged, but we didn't know the extent of it.
Okay.
I had a feeling, but no one was saying anything. But we got discharged with like, you're supposed to go home with a child like this, like nursing and like equipment. We had discharged with like no nursing, no medical equipment besides her G-tube pump. So like the first 10 months of her being home was really hard. I was like just trying to do it all. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, and she's in such a better place now than she was then. It was so bad back then. We have a nurse now and like our home nurse is like, I don't know how you did those first 10 months. I'm like, me either. I think it was like fight or flight mode, like what am I supposed to do with my daughter? But we just weren't discharged with the proper equipment. And I didn't,
wow.
I started thinking like we weren't supposed to have it. Like, I felt like guilty. Like, oh, I'm like, they told me in the NICU that we were going to, and then discharge happened. And literally I remember like the elevator doors closing and my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, okay, like, here we go. Like, I mean, they trained us obviously, but like, I'm responsible. Like, this is scary. She's on a lot of medications, like very heavy duty drugs and these things like, so I just did it obviously those 10 months, but I would just cry in the doctor's office every day. We still to this day have doctor's appointments, at least weekly now, multiple. But back then we had them multiple a day. So they finally got me connected with the correct resources. And like, she's on a waiver program now for like severely disabled children, which that's how we have nursing now. We finally have at home the proper equipment. We have oxygen, we have a pulse ox, we have a suction machine, we have a CPT vest that like shakes her up to get her secretions out, which helps with the vomiting, all the things. Like we joke, we literally say all the time, how did we survive those first 10 months? Like, and we actually didn't end up getting the medical equipment until March of last year. It was over a year. When nursing started, they actually didn't even feel comfortable starting with us because we didn't have the proper equipment. And obviously that's like a liability. So that was very helpful. But yeah, so that's like the story in regards to like, the birth and everything. Pregnancy was totally normal. It just happens. And that's like the crazy part. Like we were talking before we got on, like, if you asked me 3 years ago if this could ever be me, no way. Like, and I think that's normal. Like no mother would ever assume that. We had the most normal life, and not saying that this is not normal. This is just our new normal. But we had the most normal life, and now my life is just, it's literally McKenna, which is fine. Like I love her to death. That's something I want to say too. Like obviously as moms, we all love our kids the same. When you have like a child that has like such high needs, it's like a different kind of love. Like me and Scott always joke and we always say like McKenna is our forever baby because she's never going to like, be able to like take care of herself or anything, but no one thinks it's going to happen to them. And like I said to you before we got on, June 1st, 2023, I woke up that morning, I was taking my kids to the splash pad an hour later. It was supposed to be a 20-minute ultrasound. Our life, in our family's lives, we're very thankful to have a good support system and friends as well. But it was a light switch and it forever, ever changed. Now my like stay-at-home mom life is we have OT, PT, speech, vision, hearing, nutrition, developmental therapy. All of them come at least once a week. Some of them come 2 times a week. Doctor's appointments weekly, if not daily. Zoom meetings. It's so crazy. Like Scott and I were talking the other night and I was like, what did I used to do with my time? Like, honestly, I was like, what did I do all day? Like, Bryn and Viv were so little. I'm like, what did we do? He's like, you went on play dates, you did this and that. Because that's the thing too. Just like packing her up to go do something. We do not like not take her places. That was the one thing that we told each other. We're never going to like do that. I keep her home because it's not fair to my other kids either. This has affected them a lot. But now that she's getting like bigger, I am seeing, after me speaking to other parents, they were like, well, just wait till she gets older. And I was like, no. I'm seeing it now. She's still she has with the feeding intolerance, she's diagnosed with like malnourished, failure to thrive, which we've gotten it under control at this point, but she just like vomits so much. So everyone like warned me, like other moms living similar lives. They were like, it's great that you take her out so much, but like, don't be upset the day that you start realizing like this is so much work. And we are getting to that point. Like I remember 2 weeks ago, we always go out to dinner like once a week or whatever, and once or twice a week. And she was just having a bad day and we were all ready to go. And I'm like sitting on the stairs and I look at Scott and I'm like, just go pick up tacos down the street. I'm like, this is not worth it. Like, so I'm starting to see what people have like warned me about with like this lifestyle. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's not, but no, just a lot. And like you said, everyone's motherhood journey is different. And I never would have ever thought like this was in my cards, but now here I am today. And again, I even think about like my family, like my parents are the best support system. My husband's parents are the best support system. His grandparents are still around. I don't have my grandparents anymore, but they are the best support system. My friends, like Sam, like I am so lucky because I know a lot of families don't. I've talked to a lot of moms where they've like lost friends because of people feel uncomfortable and stuff like that. Like, okay, it blows my mind. We are very lucky, but it's affected all of them as well. Like it doesn't just affect the family. And then the siblings for me and Vivian, oh my gosh, the guilt I feel just because their life literally flipped the switch as well. Sometimes I feel like, was it a good thing that this all went down when they were 3 and 4? Because they were so young. They really don't know any different at this point. Now that it's been 2.5 years, this is their norm, the life that we live. I mean, we have full-time nursing in our home every day. Like everyone on our block calls my house the mini hospital. When McKenna had first come home, everyone was like, why are all these cars parked out there? Because we have a very small neighborhood. Now everyone knows it's like McKenna's staff. Like McKenna has her own staff at this point, but we were revolving door. It's just a mini hospital. And like, but that's like awkward for my other children. Like, you know, they're little, like now they're 5 and 7, but like, right. Can you imagine waking up in the morning and like you're having your bowl of cereal before school and you have multiple people in your home? Like it just changed the dynamic of our family. And
yes, it does. Yeah.
Again, it's the sad part is that like it could happen to anyone and you don't think it will, but God forbid it could happen. So that's kind of the story of all that. Sorry, like I said so much, but
no. And I think you laid it all out. So again, thank you for doing that, for sharing. And yeah, that is so much right there that not only affected, like you said, like your family, but like it's something that I do feel like a lot of our listeners have related to. They've asked for stories like this to connect to. So with that being said, and again, thank you so much for sharing that, Kellie. Where do you, outside of family, like you mentioned, like you have really great support with like family and friends, where do you find other support, like for other moms that are in your same situation? Where do you find that?
So I will say that I love talking. I'm a very personal person. I don't really like so my husband and I were just talking about this. Now with us having like we're finally fully equipped with McKenna. So I still have yet to get my own kind of life back at this point. I probably should have also mentioned with her feeds and all of that stuff, since she feeds all night and with the feeding intolerance, she's at a risk for something that's called aspiration precautions. Because since she can't sit up or move, she vomits all the time. If I'm sleeping and she vomits, it's not gonna be good. So I'm up with her all night. I'm up with her all night long, watching and intervening and this and that, which we are actually getting more support with nursing soon. So that's my point of what I was gonna say now. I'm thankful for the support we have through friends and family. I feel like I've yet to get back into my own self and own ways yet. But with us, we're starting to get night nursing. Our day nurse is literally the best lady in the world. Her name is Sandy. I love her to death. She loves my other kids. She's part of our family. I am so lucky and so thankful because I have heard absolute horror stories in regards to home nursing and how it's so difficult to find a good person or they just don't show up or something. We are so lucky. We have full-time nursing it's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I specifically asked for Tuesdays off just for a little bit of privacy in the home. But we're going to get night nursing also. And I feel like I'm going to be able to find my own pattern of things. In regards to support-wise, I will say now that I feel like I'm comfortable with McKenna and we have a system and everything. My older girls, they joined cheer this year through our city that we live in. And people want to help. They do. My husband works a lot with construction and McKenna... It was hot. It was hot as hell this year for the football games. It was so hot. And I was going to a lot of these games. And I have McKenna, my girl, since they're only a year apart, they're on the same squad team, whatever you want to call it. most of the games were honestly fine, but it was hot. It was a hot, like, August and September. Do you agree? Like, it was warm.
It was real, yeah.
It was really hot. Like, and McKenna doesn't like love the heat, but like, I didn't even know half of these like women on the team. It's our first year doing it since they're so little. She was like having a hard time like choking or something, and I'm like taking care of her, and like people are coming up and they're like, I'm an RN, do you need any help, this or that? Or on the last game of the season, this one mom walked up to me, and I've seen her son there, definitely a very different situation, but she was like, hey, just so you know, and obviously you live in this community, there is a special needs mom group that gets together at this church, like, and I've been like seeing you this whole season, and your daughter's much younger than my son is. He had to be like 13 or 14 years old. She's like, I've been doing this a lot longer, and I appreciate any resources and help that anyone will give me, because I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. Like, this is my first time. I think I've gained a lot of knowledge, but people like that know a lot more than me. She has 10 plus years on me living this kind of lifestyle.
Totally
so
get it.
There's so much support from even people that you wouldn't even expect, and like help when I'm just out in the public with her, and it's nice. It's a welcoming, good feeling. So yeah, I would say on that way, I'm still, my point also is I'm still trying to figure out like what I'm gonna like do for myself once we have more support. Until it's kind of like I'm joining the gym. I need to have something once the girls go to school. I need to like go do something, just to get something back for like myself, because I am like, we just went to a pediatrician appointment two weeks ago, and McKenna's pediatrician is actually my other girl's pediatrician, so we've known him for 7 years, and he is phenomenal. He's just so good with this situation. We know him, we love him, and he just said to me 2 weeks ago, he was like, yeah, you're McKenna's caregiver, but you're also a mother. You need to be a mom, not just a caregiver. And I was like, I know, doctor, I know. And because he just knows it's exhausting, like up all night, and like the vomiting and the phone calls and the doctor's appointments and the therapy, like it's insane. But he said that to me, and I was like, I promise. I'm like, things are changing. We have a better schedule going. I'm starting to feel better. So I'm definitely going in the right trajectory. And you got to do things for yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, or you just live like miserably. And like what I always say is me and Scott both, we went through the sad phase, we went through the depressed phase, we went through the why me phase. And now we're at the phase of, this is our life. Scott always says, these were the cards we were dealt. And unfortunately that's true. And I'm not going to like weep on them, like it's not changing. So my kids deserve the best. And like, that's like today, like yesterday, last minute, I was like, let's pack up and let's go up north. You know how much traffic was yesterday when that snow came? That sucked. But I'm like, no, we're going to do it. Like, the kids deserve this. They're out on the snowmobiles right now. McKenna's napping, but whatever. I'm going to bundle her up when we get off. I'm going to bring her down there. Like, you have to just enjoy what you can, take whatever blessings that you have,
100% agree. I love that you're going to start doing things for yourself, because I know these past 2.5 years, I can tell right now you haven't. And that was never a thought. It just wasn't. And that's where you were, and
but yeah,
100%. But I'm really happy to hear that, even if it is the gym, something that's like,
just something little.
Yes, yeah, like something that's Kelly's. That's all
on the way home. And I'm like, that sounds great. Like, just to like, I just want an agenda. I miss having like an agenda. Like, I just miss that.
100%. When people are like, and this can be family, friends, strangers, right? Like you mentioned, like people, the other moms from cheer, really for anybody, but people could say things like, I can't imagine, right? Which I think is okay. Like, I'm sure you hear that a lot. I'm sure there's many other things that you hear or have heard. What do you wish that people would say or even do in these situations or in these moments when they're talking with you?
Okay. Me and Scott talk about this all the time. Everyone means well, 100%. And I'm like I told you before we got on here, I'm like very blunt at this point, again, just because we felt all the feelings, sad, depressed, why, blah, blah. So I'm almost okay with how people say that, because it is an uncomfortable situation. It is. Like, it is. And I can't blame someone for not knowing what to say. Because I just said 5 minutes ago, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm like literally
Anna
learning
Rodney
daily
is the
with
owner and
McKenna,
founder of Chicago Family Doulas and Birth
I talk
and
about
Baby
this all the time. Like, I'm at my mom's house
Chicago
right now,
Family Doulas provides trusted
she has
expert
difficult
support
time all day
through
long.
pregnancy, birth,
These are my own
and
parents. And I'm like,
postpartum. They offer in-person and virtual classes, birth doulas, and
even like my parents like,
doulas.
what do we
They
do?
provide
They don't
live-in
say,
newborn
like,
care as well as daytime and overnight newborn care and support. Families feel cared for and are never alone on their journey. Birth and Baby University offers fully online
her for a
evidence-based
reason,
classes
or like
that prepare
we were the
you for
parents
your
for
childbirth,
her, like with all
baby
these
care,
struggles, this and that,
breastfeeding,
like,
and beyond, all
and
at your own pace. Feel confident,
it
supported,
bothers
and
me
empowered
sometimes,
every
'cause
step
I
of
don't
the
think
way.
any
Trusted
no
by
one wants
thousands
their
of
child to
families.
be
Connect with them
in
today
pain
at
or
hello
suffer,
at
right? Like, I don't like
ChicagoFamilyDoulas.com
that
and get the
statement,
expert support
but I
you
also
deserve.
can't get
Hinge
mad
is a
at,
concierge
like,
med
someone for
spa that
saying
brings
that,
treatments
'cause
like
they don't know
Botox,
either.
chemical peels, and
Yeah, I feel like I'm
microneedling
repeating
straight
myself,
to your
but
door because
I
self-care
don't
should
get
work
it. I
around
used to
your
get upset
life,
about it.
not the
Basically,
other
that's
way
what I'm
around.
saying. It used to
Their
upset me, and I would
board-certified
roll,
nurse
and I was like,
practitioners
that's so
deliver
annoying.
medical-grade
Especially,
results,
like,
minus the
older
med spa
people,
waiting room. Book
they'll be
solo
like,
or
well,
with
there's a
friends,
reason
they
for
call
this.
that a
It's
pinch
like,
party. Whether
they
it's
always go
just you
into that
or a whole
basis of all
crew,
that, but, like,
it's
they
expert
don't
care
mean
delivered
it. I
your way.
genuinely don't
Visit
think that they
bookpinched.com
mean it.
now.
I guess
Red
that's not
Barrel
true.
has
Like, they
always
do
been a
mean
place
it,
where
but they just
families
don't know what
come
to say, but
together,
they
and
mean
that
well by
tradition
it.
continues under the care of
I
brothers
guess
Luis
if
and
anything else
Carlos
they could say
Vasquez.
is, like, more
Once
so
a
ask,
beloved
like, how are
neighborhood
you
landmark,
doing?
the
Like, as the
restaurant was
parent,
brought
whether
back
it's
to
mother
life
or
when the
father,
brothers
it doesn't just
purchased
have to
and
be me. If
restored
Scott
it in
has her out or something,
2017,
you ask that.
determined to preserve its
But
legacy for the
I will
community.
say there is a lot
Drawing
of
from their
parents
own
that
journey,
I've
starting out
spoken
in
to where it does
Chicago with
really
humble
upset them,
beginnings
and I
and building
get
a
it, but I
successful
feel like
construction
you
company,
also
they
need to just
poured the
understand
same
this is, like,
dedication
kind of
into
like a
creating a
sticky-
restaurant
not
that
sticky,
feels
like a
like
weird
home.
situation. It's
Today,
uncomfortable.
Red Barrel
People
offers
don't
a
wanna
warm,
upset you, so they're
family-oriented
just trying to be
atmosphere,
kind,
serving a
honestly.
menu that blends
But they
Italian, American, and
probably could say
Mexican
something
flavors
different,
while
but
giving
I wouldn't even know
neighbors
what
a
to say,
place to
honestly.
celebrate,
Like, you know,
connect, and
you
make
know,
lasting
right? Like,
memories. Be
and
sure
so
to
it
check
doesn't
them
make me
out
mad
in the
any
Archer
longer.
Heights neighborhood.
So the only suggestion I could be would be
Vacation with
just ask
Melissa
if they
is
need
your
help,
full-service
or
travel
how are they
agency
doing? 'Cause they're
specializing
probably
in
the caregiver,
all-inclusive
you know?
resorts
Yes.
and
But I just
destination
don't get my
events.
feelings hurt
They
anymore because
create
it's just not worth
seamless,
it.
stress-free
That makes you
vacations
sad.
for
And why do I need
families,
to be sad?
couples,
I'm like,
and groups,
what? That's
handling
silly.
every
No,
detail so you
I
can simply
completely relate to
enjoy.
that, and I
Vacation
understand,
with
yes,
Melissa
in that
also
regard
offers
of, like,
education
I-
programs
yeah,
and career
like, you even said, you're
opportunities
like, I'm
in the
not
travel
going
industry,
to
helping
be-
others turn their
not gonna
passion for
dwell on
travel
that, right?
into
And
a
I-
Yeah,
rewarding
dwell on
career.
something
So
else,
whether
but
you're
all-
ready to book your
you can
dream
tell
getaway
by
or
person's
start your
demeanor
journey
when
as
they
a travel
speak to you. 'Cause
professional,
obviously
they're here
when
to
someone
help
says
every
something,
step
like,
of
the
the
typical
way.
statement
Visit
of, like,
vacationwithmelissa.com
or
or
blah, blah,
find on
whatever.
Instagram
You
at
could
Vacation with
tell
Melissa
genuine
LLC.
people or like ignorant people. Obviously, every situation is different. 9 times out of 10, it's a good person just being genuine, and they don't know what to say. They are sympathizing. They feel bad. And I'm not going to make them feel worse. You know what I mean? Like, they took, you know, so, because then there's the other side where you go places and people just like stare and it's awkward. And I don't care. I'm an adult, but like my other 2 kids are like, why are they staring? Which, again, my other 2 kids, they had to grow up way too soon. Honestly, it makes me upset. But they are so mature and they are so good, especially my oldest, Brindley. She has McKenna's back. Like, there's no tomorrow. Like, she will go to bat for that little girl.
Oh.
Like, she's like said things, and I'm like, I'm the adult. We're at like the store or something, or at a restaurant specifically, and I'll be like, Brindley, shh. And she's like, oh no, why are they? I'm like, and she's 7. Then my husband's like, Kelly, no, let her. I'm like, you're right.
I
But
love her. Oh my
McKenna is her girl. She is her girl. McKenna is the biggest hype team between her siblings.
Oh, she's so loved. So I wanted to kind of talk about McKenna and especially like
Yes.
her personality. What does Joy look like now in your home, right? Like what lights her up? And I kind of want to talk about your connection and relationship with her too.
Okay. So with her being blind and deaf, it is hard to like figure out like, or it was hard to figure out like what she enjoys. She just loves like when we're in a room with like people and like everyone's talking, like she'll be laying there and laying in her chair. And like once, if there's like she loves chaos. I'm just gonna leave it at that. She loves chaos. When there is chaos, she's like, ah, and she's smiling, gummy smile, and she's so excited. Her feet are kicking. She like found her feet and like she will kick. It's so funny. We're always like, where are you going? Because she's like, you could tell like on her face, she has the biggest smile on her, like her tongue's sticking out, like she's like focusing and like she's just kicking. But it's like whenever there's like chaos going on, she's like in the best mood. Also making sure that she's healthy, because I'm not gonna lie, we went through it last year before we had the medical equipment. Oh my God, this poor girl. She had RSV, pneumonia, influenza A, just obviously the colds, upper respiratory. Like
Oh, no.
At one point she had RSV and pneumonia at the same time. It was insane for 9 months straight. Like I was like, what are we doing? This is insanity at this point. It was wild. We've been healthy since September, which is literally amazing. So we all really feel, even all of her therapists, like we're finally able to like grow. She's able to grow kind of like before she was just so constantly sick. It was just setback after setback. And also when she gets sick, she's immune compromised. It's not good. So we've seen a lot of growth, and like we've kind of learned her little twerks. Like she loves the song "The Wheels on the Bus." She loves when the girls stomp their feet. She loves when our dog barks, and our dog's obnoxious and barks all the time. If you like, oh, it's so funny. If you like drop something, that's why I always say she definitely hears tones. If you drop something, she will literally belly laugh. And she never laughed up until like 8 months ago, and she started belly laughing. It's like the thud. So that's why we think she hears tones, which we're also in the process of getting her, it's not hearing aids. It's like this band. I know the name of it, but I can't think of it right now. And that's supposed to pick up like vibration and stuff. So I think that's going to even help her a lot, just to even hear more of the tones. But her little personality has finally come out since she's been healthy finally for so long.
Yeah.
And obviously she still has all the other stuff that goes on. Like we see like 17 different specialists, and like, I'm not going to lie, currently we're waiting to find out. She may need another brain surgery. February, we're going to have a meeting about it. But it's just been so nice to see her healthy since September. Like she's never had this stretch. I didn't say this either, but she's also with, have you ever heard of like palliative care? So it's like so we started palliative care through our hospital, as well as at home palliative care. That's been like a huge win too. They do a lot of services also. Like we have music therapy that comes, and like they come and sing with a guitar, and she like loves it. It's the cutest and funniest thing ever. She loves it. So yeah, we've gotten the equipment, we've gotten the resources, we've gotten the correct doctors, we've switched to a lot of doctors. And that's something I kind of want to say this. Like anyone who listens that has like a child with special needs or whatever the circumstance may be, me and Scott were like so scared and hesitant when she had first come home from the hospital about like kind of like pushing back in regards to like medically, I guess you can say, like doctors.
Okay.
It's a very different situation when you have a complex child. We've switched doctors. We've switched an entire children's hospital at this point. And it was terrifying because I was like, oh my God, am I allowed to do this? Am I going to get in trouble? It was a lot of work, and it was scary, and it was a lot. But like as a parent, you know your kid best.
Yeah.
Doctors are doctors, and they're great for certain reasons. And again, like I said, McKenna may need brain surgery. She still has a neurologist. She still has a neurosurgeon. She still has 15 other specialists. And there's a reason for them. I call them. But as parents with children like this, or have these disabilities, us as moms know them better at the end of the day. And it's okay to have the confidence of what you feel because we live with them. And we know their quirks, and we know when something doesn't look right, and we know if something's wrong. When you go to the doctor, yes, they want the best benefit for the child, but they also they went to school, for this, right? Like it's textbook. These complex kids aren't textbook. So I feel like it's a lot for a parent with a child like this, because you don't want to do the wrong thing, because that's what I was worried about. When we switched 17 different specialists to a completely different hospital, now we're using multiple different hospitals with different specialists, because I'm just looking for like the best and who like we work well with. We're actually I have an evaluation with a hospital in like Boston that I'm trying to get her into just to see, because she is very, very complex and like particular with everything that's going on. Like there's a lot more than just like the diagnoses that I stated. But when she learned the quirks and all the things, you as a mom, I just feel you do know your child best. Like, and it's okay to ask questions. That was our number one thing. We always just said, okay, you're saying this, but I need an explanation. Because like she was supposed to get readmitted last April. And I was sobbing. It was a Zoom meeting at like 7:00 in the morning. And I called my husband, and he's like, no, she's not. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I was on the Zoom meeting for 3 hours, and he's like, she's not going back in. So then we ended up having a meeting the next day with my husband, and like we just straight up asked. I'm not being rude. I'm just straight up asking, like, well, can you almost have to convince me what we're going back in for. Like, why do you want her back in hospital? We lived in the hospital for 7 months. Now what? They didn't really have anything to say. And that's why like we end up switching her. But you're allowed to do that as a parent. And as scary as it is, you know them best.
You have to advocate for your kids. You have
to advocate. And it's crazy because, again, like I never understood when people would say that back before the twins were born, because my other kids, like, it's their, I feel grateful. Like they're healthy, and it's, their yearlies or their annuals or whatever it is. But like when you're living this side of life, no, you have to advocate. So
100%. Biggest message takeaways always.
Yes, like you can, and it's scary, but it is. As long as don't be like rude, obviously, but like.
No, let's not do that. No, I completely 100% agree, and I completely understand. Really quickly before we wrap up, yes, I would love your perspective, because you also have other children as well. So, like McKenna has siblings, but also with
other people's kids, whether it's school, right, church, whatever it might be, how would you like us as parents, right, and other moms, how do we talk to our children? And I've always wondered this. My kid is 2, but my kid's going to meet people who don't look like her, everything. We're talking the whole thing, right? I'm like, the world is very large, Gigi. Like, it's not just you and me and this house, like, the world's a big place. But how do we, as mothers, right, how do we talk to our children, right, when it comes to medically complex kids, right, or disabilities? Like, how would you, because I want to be a change maker in the world. I always say that, right, with my daughter. How do we do that? How do we bring the conversation forward to our kids?
I would say, I mean, it kind of sounds cliche, but it really is the truth. Like, if you're out in public and you see like a child like in a wheelchair or something like that, like, it's okay to like look. Like, I even catch myself. My daughter is literally very, very disabled, McKenna. I'll be out in public with McKenna and Brinley and Vivian, and like Brinley and Vivian will literally sometimes stare. I mean, they're kids, right? Like, it's not their fault. And I'll even be like, stop doing, like, I'm like, oh, come on, stop, guys. No, it's actually okay. It's not a bad thing. I don't think there's any right way to go about it, but I would just say, like, it actually is okay to like look, maybe not like just sit and stare, but like you can, it's again, so cliche. You could ask questions. Like, I would rather someone ask. That was like a really big thing that we had when McKenna had come home from the hospital. We live in like a smaller neighborhood. It's like medium, I would say. It's like a horseshoe. So there's probably like 100 houses, I would say, total. And we're all like very close on our side of the horseshoe. There's so many kids. We probably have like 40 kids just on like our side. And we're all super, super close. Everyone knew what was going on when everything went on and like all of it. Obviously, these kids have questions. I mean, they saw me pregnant. Everyone was so excited for twins on the block and that like they were supposed to be due in August and they were born earlier. And this is a big age gap. My kids were the youngest at the time, but it went up to like 15 years old. The day we came home, I didn't know how to go about it either because Sienna had passed away. McKenna was in the hospital. I also, as a mom, didn't want to say the wrong thing to a child on the block. I don't know how every family has, their own way they talk about things. It was so awkward and uncomfortable. But we were very lucky, again, that, and these are all children, it was almost better that they did ask questions. And that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like that's like the only advice I could give. It's okay to look. It's different. It is different. Like, that's inevitable. We can't like paint this pretty picture. It is the truth. When you see a child with a feeding tube in a wheelchair and you're walking through Walmart or Target, like, it is different. And kids especially are going to look. I would just say, obviously you're not going to stop in the middle of your grocery shop to be like, oh my gosh, what happened? But it is okay to ask. It is okay to approach. And the mom that you're approaching, I promise you, even if it is in Walmart, she's not going to be mad at you. Like, don't feel like you have to, but I promise you, she's not gonna be like, oh my God, how dare you? She or he would rather that than just staring and walking by. Or like, they'll like go like this to the kid, like, stop it. Like, as they're walking, it's fine. I get it. But like, it's fine also. If your kid just wants to ask a question, it's totally fine. We know. I'll be the last person to be like, this isn't like different. Like, right? Let's be real. So it's okay just to ask questions. That's what I would just say. Ask questions. You can tell your kids. And again, not to repeat myself, but the mom or dad, you may ask the question to, I feel like it's like 0% chance they're going to be mad at you for asking a question. Honestly, they probably are going to be like, oh my God, someone asked. Like, they probably honestly will.
Oh, that just warmed my heart. Good. I'm glad. I love how open you are and that you are you're very welcoming to questions and everything too.
Oh yeah.
Incredible.
It's like no one could hurt my feelings at this point.
I know, like that one meme, like, you think you can hurt my feelings? Like, literally.
I just said that to my husband the other day. I'm like, at this point, like, lay it on me. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Kellie, you're an angel. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your story about beautiful McKenna and for sharing your journey too on social. It's where I kind of like follow and everything.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you so much. If any other moms, if you're okay with it, want to reach out to ever talk, connect, ask questions,
totally.
Where can they do that?
I love that. No, I just actually found a mom that with McKenna's condition, well, any child that is so complex, none of them are the same, let's be real. But with McKenna having like the spastic quad CP and then the blind and the deaf, everything, I've yet to meet a mom that has a child similar. And I actually, Sam actually sent me a link to it was like a news broadcast. I don't know, like a family got interviewed in Texas and Sam sent it to me. And this little boy, almost the exact same age, 2.5, blind, like I don't want to speak on it, but like so similar to McKenna. And Sam was like, message the news station. And I'm like, they're not going to see it. Like, this is silly. I messaged and they gave me her Instagram handle. And then she added me on Facebook and we've been like texting. And like, that's the first parent that I have personally met that like similar enough. Like, cause I will say that too, because we have so many like therapists and doctors and all that. We have gotten so many resources. Like the amount of like companies, like our hearing therapists put McKenna on a nationwide database for blind and deaf. That was in September. I have not heard anything back. Like people want to help, but like to find someone that's like similar, you know, like I've talked to so many moms that have disabled children, but to have someone on the same like level of it or the same diagnosis as, you can't have the same conversations. So if I could ever talk to a mom that's living similarly, like the mom I just got connected with, that is obviously it's not identical, but it's so close. We both were like, oh my God. She even said, and she, it was like an interview, you know, like on a news station or whatever. She was like, no one's reached out that is blind and deaf and cerebral palsy. I'm like, oh my God, same, like literally same. And now we're like talking. So if I could ever do that to someone that like hears this, I would love that, because it's not that I'm not thankful for the connections that I've been given from so many people, but it also is the fact that when you have like a kid with such complexities, and when people are like throwing so many suggestions or like, talk to this person, talk to that person, here's this phone number, here's this resource. At least personally for myself, I just always feel bad if I'm going to reach out to you and then we start talking, but like, if we're not like, I don't want to say if we're not the same, it doesn't matter. But we obviously also as moms have so much going on, especially when you have like a disabled child.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't want to like, it's not wasting time or anything, but it's just like, it's so hard to find someone similar. So if anyone ever heard this story or something and they have a blind, even if it's just blind and deaf child that doesn't have cerebral palsy, that's a huge diagnosis alone. I would love to speak to someone like that, because it's just such a small community that you don't just find, you know? So I'd be open to it. I'm not as active on Instagram as I would like to be with posts. I do my stories, I feel like you always see, but I don't like post as much as I used to. I'm very, very active on Facebook always, but I am on Instagram, and you're more than welcome to share the handles.
Beautiful. I'm going to drop them in the show notes. So awesome.
Thank you.
Kellie, thank you so much for being here with us today. We appreciate you.